Elkhorn Area High School. And I'd like to call the meeting to order for a budget hearing. Mr. Shabbat, we don't need to do a roll call, do we?
Let's go ahead and do the roll call.
Okay, all right. So would you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Andre. Here. Mayor Gordon. Here. Mrs. Ingersoll.
Here.
Mrs. Costock.
Here.
Mrs. Reckless.
Here.
Mr. Scarrow. Here. Mrs. Vaughn.
Here. Next, we will have an annual report and presentation by Mr. Tadlock and our Director of Business Services, Christopher Earl.
Right. I want to just take a moment to welcome everybody to tonight's annual budget hearing. And want to take a quick moment to give a big thanks to Brenda Harris, who she compiles and puts together our 2024-2025 annual report as it's related to the state of the district. This report covers a number of areas. We always focus on tradition, innovation, distinction, and an added connection this year. And I'd encourage you to take a look. This will go out to all district residents. As a reminder, we have 7 schools in the school district, 1 high school, 1 middle school, 3 elementary schools, and then 2 charter schools, one of which is a 6-12 and the other is a K-12 or 4K through 12th grade. We are up to 3,633 students this year. As you go through the booklet, a couple of areas to highlight on page 3. Just want to give a big thanks to all the retirees of the school district. Their pictures and names are listed there. They represented hundreds of years of service to the school district. If you flip to the area of distinction, I do want to call out state recognized Administrator of the Year from the Library Association, Mr. Keel. And we also had a recipient of a national award, Mr. Austin Thorson, received the Harbor Freight Technical Education Teacher Award, and also Juliet Lena received a national recognition of Teacher of the Month from NARAS. We also, our middle school received a very prestigious award from Project Lead the Way. They are recognized with the Community Impact Award. That article is on page 12. They were the only middle school in the entire country that was recognized by Project Lead the Way for that award. And then to round it out, I always like to call out and highlight the last page of the booklet, page 15, which I don't want to steal Mr. Earl's thunder, but it does show a budget overview of general revenues, what we spend the money on. And then we have a comparison chart as compared to other area and comparable size of school districts. And it shows our spending per pupil as compared to those school districts. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Earl, our new Director of Business Finance, and his first annual meeting. So we're seeing a historic moment as he takes over for Mr. Truin. So, Mr. Earl.
All right. Thank you, everybody. It's going to go just as smooth as the first board meeting, right? Yes. All right. So, our budget presentation. We're going to go over the basic facts of the school district. We're going to go over some area school district comparables and the upcoming budget highlights and proposed tax levy. So our actual student enrollment has increased every year up until about 2020, and we've hit a slight plateau. It'll be interesting to look at the data that's from 2012 to 2020, and we'll see where a lot of the gains have been. And it's not necessarily in-seat from home district enrollment. Here's our big changer. The fact that we have a net open enrollment. So we have about 800 students that come to Elkhorn Area School District that come from outside the school district. Some are local neighbors, and some are via our virtual charter school. This graph here really illustrates what's going on with the yellows are in-district enrollees, and the purple is the out-of-district enrollees. The combination of the two is going to make up that about 3,500 number. And the downward trend of the in-district enrollees really mirrors what's happening all across the state. Student enrollments have been slightly decreasing year over year. Now, this is where we get our funds from. Last year, 36% of our revenues came from local tax levy, and 34% of it came from state equalization aid. The rest of it is made up of other state aids. The other big chunk is open enrollment from other districts, and then a slight piece of the pie is from federal sources. One of the things that's going to change this year is the state equalization budget and the total local tax levy. Those two levers are going to move a little bit. About 75% of our expenditures are personnel. So when we're talking how to move budget, unfortunately, it's always going to impact large scale with our employees.
Real quick, Chris, just to give a little bit of context, 74% on personnel costs is very low from a school district standpoint. Typical is in that 75% to 85% range. I have seen districts as high as 95%. So what that represents is that 74% of the expenses are in those personnel costs, but contextually speaking, we're running a very efficient rate.
And that's salary and benefits. So all right, and then the school district's long-term debt. We have 3 outstanding bond issues with 2015, from 2016, and 2020.
Just to go
back
to that slide.
Yeah.
Just the point of clarification, those were the original bond amounts. That's not the total debt that's remaining. So the total debt is that right? Just under 20 million now?
Something like that, yeah. And one of them is also available to be repurchased, I believe. Our equalized property valuation increases. That's been a steady increase over the last 10 years. That's going to be one of the players in how our equalization aid is factored from the state. And then here is the last, the historical and projected tax rate. Ever since they locked in the funding mechanisms from 1993. And with the slight increase projected tax amount, we're still at the bottom of our chart historically over the last 30 years. This illustrates the tax levy percent change over the last 13 years, 14 years. And the average annual change has been 1.61%. All right, well, we're going to look at district comparables. I won't lie, these are districts that Mr. Truin picked last year, so we're just going to continue his trend. All this information comes from DPI's WISE Dash portal. It's publicly accessible. So all the information is either from 2023 or 2024. So we're going to look at some area school districts, some other Wisconsin schools based upon similar factors such as enrollment and minority population. Here we can see that Elkhorn Area School District is at the top of the enrollment for the schools in our area. I would suggest that you could do the math and subtract out the 800 open enrollment kids and see where we would be if we didn't take the proactive approach to bring in kids from other school districts. Free and reduced lunch. This represents the kids that need economic assistance based on the federal amount. This is us compared to other school districts in the area for our per student expenditures. Right in the middle. And this is our equalized value per student. If I could, I'd like to point out East Troy at their really high equalized value per student. So their property valuation is large compared to how many students they actually have in their school district. The next slide is going to illustrate what happens to their equalization aid. East Troy then is down towards the bottom because they show that on paper they're a property rich school district. So that's the lever that is being worked on the state equalization aid. About 55% of school districts in this upcoming year are going to be farther down the chart on the equalization aid. MPS and Racine have their numbers in, and those numbers in itself are going to push over half of the school districts into a lower equalization aid. But if you apply that to Elkhorn Area School District, as shown in the prior slides, our evaluation has increased and our students from the district have decreased. So that in itself is a mechanism to lower our state equalization aid. Now, our fund balance is a percentage of expenditures. We're pretty healthy. Mr. Truin's done a really fantastic job of managing the budget along with the school district to make sure that we are in a healthy fiscal position. And this is our tax rate per $1,000 equalized value. All right, so a lot of the budget that we've created for this upcoming year is based off of the state budget that was passed recently. So there's been a 325 increase allowed in the per student revenue cap. So the students that we have, we can increase our intake by 325 kids or dollars per student. There is no increase in the per pupil aid. And that's currently at $742 per student. That stays the same as it was last year. Here's some good news from the state. The projected increase in special ed aid is approximately 42% of our cost. I believe that's up from 30%. Now, this is the sticky part, where there's no additional state equalization aid. So the result from increasing the revenue cap, but not increasing the state equalization aid, is going to directly lead to having to fund it through local taxes. There was a provision for additional mental health grants and state aid. And
Go ahead.
we have, to our benefit, because we are plus students on the open enrollment side, they increased the open enrollment transfer amount to $10,102. Mr. Tadlock?
Yeah, the open enrollment for people now was over $1,000 for people additional revenue. So for us, that approaches $1 million additional revenue just from the open enrollment students. What I do want to point out though is the $325 increase allowed in the per student revenue cap. That is subject to our student count formula. And because we have a declining enrollment district, that revenue gain is not 325 times 2,800 resident students. You know, it would be nice if that was the case, but the way the formula works, I believe our total revenue cap increase, if I recall correctly, comes out to about $200,000 for this next year because of the school funding formula. So it's nice to have that increase, but from an overall standpoint, just that one line item was well under 1% for last, so it wasn't a significant.
So with the budget highlights and proposed tax levy continuing, the budget reduction and additional revenue items for $1.25 million, we've had to, I'd say, reduce the budget to try to be as fiscally responsible as possible. Some of the things that we are going to, or in the process of doing, is reducing 2 transportation routes through efficiencies. There's a custodial reorganization. There was a reduction of 5 instructional days. Lights aren't on, buses don't run, don't have to clean school. We are restructuring and transferring a number of programs to the Community Service Fund, also known as Fund 80. Restructure and reduce 7 staff positions at the elementary level. Restructure and reduce 4 staff positions, 2 study hall aides and 1 office staff position at the middle school. And reduce 3 staff and some overloads at the high school level. And some specific budget programs, additions and adjustments. There's an additional part-time sign language services that'll be needed, 2 additional special ed teachers and an EL teacher, 2 additional teacher positions and counselor position for the Options Virtual Charter School. And then the Act 20 reading program, ELA adoption. So the general budget highlights, there's a cost of living salary wage adjustment of 3% for all employees. Student transportation services are increasing by 2% this year. Health insurance budgeted to increase 6% this year. Total general fund and special education fund expenditures are increasing by 3%. Total revenue expense shortfall is represented by about $1.4 million.
Chris, can you go back to the list of accounts? There's a couple pieces I want to point out. One that we missed.
All right. So back to this one here.
Yes, the two transportation routes, I mean, we are doing efficiencies on all of those routes, but also as a result of cutting two routes, that does create two walk zones. For the elementary, which we have not had in the past, West Side and Jackson do have a portion of their school boundaries that will be in a walk zone as well, and the middle school walk zone is expanded. The high school is only able to walk zone. And there's also a reduction of director of technology and online learning that position has been, for the district.
It's safe to say that these are essentials, correct? Do we had to, for services, add those in? So this is the information again that this year's budget was built on. So at an overall student enrollment of approximately 3,500 students, 450 full-time and part-time employees, we have a proposed tax levy of $24,754,415, represents an 8% increase in tax levy.
And just to reiterate, that doesn't mean our budget's going up 8%, it's going up much lower than that. A lot of that is because that lever of the state aid or revenue is being reduced, in large part because MPS and the state, two very large districts in the state, pass very large operational referendums, and they're very highly aided school districts. So the pot of money that the state has, they have to provide whatever that formula states is that percentage to those school districts. So all the districts that pass referendums, they also got more state aid that reduced the amount of state aid available for other districts, especially if they need to increase their revenue via referendum. So we're getting less state aid, that makes more on the local tax, even though it doesn't impact our overall operational budget.
And here's the year over tax levy summary. There you go. Thank you very much.
Do we have any questions for the press?
Yeah, any board members have any questions? Mr. Earl? I would like to just maybe point out one additional thing. The 1.4 million in shortfall was significantly less than what we had originally projected.
I think Mr. Truon had what 3.2 million, and after it's all said and done, it was
1.4. So that took our fund balance took less of a hit than what we anticipated. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
I just wanted to highlight slide 10 here, because we're are extremely low comparatively. I just want to highlight the story. I just want to highlight that.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
4. Is that in the comparables?
I think he was referring to the tax rate.
Okay.
The historical tax rate. Sure. You look at the history of where that tax rate is at. It's historically very low.
Talk a little more of the historical.
Oh, the historical one. There you go. I'm afraid to exit the big
Is that the
screen.
one? there was one more slide. Chris, can you go forward to there's, I appreciate you put it in there, but the Y dash, the report that we use for our spending for people, if you could go forward to the one that showed the expenditures for people. Yeah, right here. Because, that number, the way the EI reflects that, that's not our actual spending per pupil. What they do is they take all of your revenues, so that they include your open enrollment revenue, and then they divide it by your resident students on that report. So you will see some districts will use that, and for example, Dallas and they'll have to report it that way. But our residents, that also includes all of our open enrollment revenue, but not divided by our actual head. So to get that true number, you need to add roughly 800 more students to that divisor. And that's where the chart on our last page of page 15 in our community handbook number is. And that's where we're significantly below the state average on the state. So doesn't use the proper divisor, nor does it, so for example, in Dallas, it doesn't show all of their total revenue divided by their resident students counts, not factoring that. So I just wanted to put that clarification there because it doesn't match what you might see from some of the other counties.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Any other questions or comments or regarding the budget? Okay, seeing none, then I'd like to declare an end to the budget hearing.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, moving on to our annual district meeting. I'd like to call the annual district meeting to order. And I don't think we need to roll call vote again, really. We do need to elect a meeting chairperson because as a member of the school board, this is actually the public's meeting. So looking for a nomination for somebody to serve as the meeting chairperson. It needs to be somebody who is a resident of the Elk Area School District.
Sure, sounds fun. I'll volunteer.
Perfect. What is your name?
It's Catherine, Kathryn. Last name is Robertson.
Okay. Catherine, as the meeting, do we need to take a vote?
I'll second the nomination of Catherine Robinson to serve as the district meeting chairperson.
Okay. It's moved and seconded to nominate Catherine Robinson as the meeting chairperson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If you wouldn't mind stepping forward onto the stage. Basically, you're going to follow the agenda that's just inside your packet that you have. If you want to take the podium, you can do that.
Let me pull that agenda up for you. This is so they can sit on the Zoom meeting.
All right, so we're just calling things out here. What are we doing?
And then the items that we only referring to are on page 2 the agenda.
Okay, so 1 through 8. All right, so I'm running the meeting. All right, so the next item, I'd like to bring your attention to the school board treasurer's report.
Okay, the school board treasurer report can be found on pages 13 to 19. Key questions on this, our total general fund revenues, $46,595,000. total general fund expenditures of $48,027,372. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. So, Mr. Earl, happy to have you over.
All right, thank you. Item 4 on our agenda tonight is the establishment of salaries, travel reimbursement, and per diem fees for school board members.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as submitted.
All right. It's been motioned and seconded to accept the treasurer's report. All right, and then I'd like to call for a vote at this time. Oh, all those in favor? It's my first day on the job. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the motion passes. All right, item 4, the establishment of salaries, travel reimbursement, and per diem fees for school board members.
I'd like to make a motion as suggestion resolution A. Go ahead and approve those recommended salaries.
All right, do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, item 5 is regarding the levying of the general property tax. Do I have a motion to pass that?
That we need the motion read in the state, correct?
That's correct.
I move that there be levied a school tax assessed against all taxable property within the Elkhorn Area School District in a sum of not more than $18,356,520 for the general fund, $1,258,700 for the community services fund, and $5,139,195 for the debt service fund, for a combined total of $24,754,415 to operate and maintain the school system and to finance the debt service of said system on the basis of the 2025-2026 school district budget presented earlier in this meeting.
I'll second it.
All right, I have a second for that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, levying of the general property tax is passed. All right, item 6 is the annual meeting time. Do you have any information regarding that?
I'll make a motion that the annual meeting begin at 6 p.m. on July 27th, 2026.
All right, I have a first and a second. All in favor of adopting that date and time?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, it is adopted as listed. All right, item 7, is there any other business to be discussed? Okay, no business at this time. Item 8 is the adjournment of the annual district meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the meeting of the annual Elkhorn Area School District is concluded. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go.
Good job.